Can you imagine him sitting here with us? Ugh. My stepmother Clara sneered. Live from the vacation I'd paid for. I canceled all their privileges and sent them a gift bag that made the entire lobby hold its breath when they returned. They weren't the same anymore. Can you imagine him sitting here with us? Ugh. She wrinkled her nose as if someone had farted in the middle of a five-star dinner. The camera shook slightly as my father, Ramon, chuckled off-screen. Don't say that, he replied. You're going to ruin the mood. Too late, she muttered, tucking her freshly dyed hair behind her ear. I swear he's like a walking embarrassment. Always lurking, asking weird questions like he doesn't fit in. Then she took a long haughty sip of her mimosa and added, laughing. Good thing we paid for this trip so we can enjoy some peace. I paused the live stream. I stared at the screen as if it could apologize to me. Peace? They said they paid for the trip? How funny. I didn't remember seeing them contribute a single cent when I shelled out over 5,000 euros to book that supposed anniversary gift. I also didn't remember a measly thank you, just a quick, well, it's about time we did something nice, and a warning not to tag them in any of the booking emails. We want it to look like we paid for it ourselves. Just for the photos. But this was another level. I rewound the video just to make sure I hadn't imagined it. He'd be sulking the whole time, Clara said. Sitting there, judging, silently counting how many shrimp everyone eats. You know how he is, like he's doing us a favor just by existing. And then the final blow. If he were here, I swear I'd ask reception to cancel our reservation. My stomach clenched, and not because of the cheap frozen pizza I'd had for dinner. My phone vibrated with a notification. Ramon and Clara are live from Paradise Bay. Yes, my Paradise Bay. The one I'd paid for. The one they didn't even invite me to. I took a deep breath and pressed play again. To freedom. Clara smiled, clinking her glass with my father's. No drama, just us and the good life. I let the video play to the end and sat there in silence. No rage, no shouting, just a strange, quiet clarity. Then I picked up my phone, opened the travel app and pressed cancel reservation. One by one everything crumbled. Rental car. Cancelled. Spa appointments. Deleted. Private catamaran dinner I'd upgraded for 600 euros. Refunded and rebooked in someone else's name. And I wasn't done yet. Before they could realize, I called the Costa Blanca Hotel and arranged one last thing. A gift bag to be delivered right to the center of the marble lobby at peak check-in time. What was inside, let's just say, made everyone stop and stare. That was the moment everything changed. They left for vacation as my ungrateful family. They returned different. But I wasn't waiting for their apologies. Not this time. You should smile more in photos, Clara once told me, holding her wine glass like it was part of her hand. You always look so anxious. Maybe because I'm the one paying for everything, I'd replied without thinking. She laughed like I just cracked a joke at my own expense. The truth is, it didn't start with that vacation. That was just the cherry on a three-tiered cake made of guilt, manipulation, and decades of "you're not like us." Ever since my father remarried, I'd been the outsider. Not openly hated, no, that would have been easier. I was tolerated like the wallpaper, a background element, a polite nod at the family table while they passed the potatoes between themselves, skipping my plate. But I tried, God, how I tried. I paid their electricity bill the month Ramon lost his job. I sent Clara money every 2 weeks just to help with groceries. I even helped them refinance their mortgage when they fell behind on payments, signing as a guarantor because their credit was too wrecked to qualify. I thought, this will finally prove I belong. Spoiler alert. It didn't. I know it's a lot to ask, she'd say in that syrupy voice she used so well, but we're in such a tight spot. If you really care about us. And every time she said us, she really meant her, him, and their 2 kids, my half-siblings, who barely knew me as anything other than the guy who brought the good presents. I once overheard her on the phone with a friend. Yeah, we're so lucky, she'd said, giggling. He's like a third parent, but better. No rules, just sending money through Bysum. Sending money like I was a human ATM with emotional dependency issues. Still, I kept quiet. I paid for their beach trip 2 summers ago. I bought new uniforms for both kids last fall. I even covered the down payment on Ramon's new Seat Leon when his previous car died. And never asked for thanks. I didn't want applause, I just wanted to be treated like a person, a son, a brother. But the more I gave, the more they acted like they deserved it. Until one day, I made the mistake of saying no. It was over a new iPad. Clara, my stepmother, called me one random Tuesday. "Hi," she said, her tone light. "So Lucia needs a tablet for school. All the kids have one, and she's feeling left out. Maybe you could send something over next month." I answered, half asleep after a 13-hour shift. "I'm a little tight right now. Maybe next month." There was a pause. "A little tight," she repeated, as if I just said I sold a kidney on the black market. "Didn't you just get a raise?" "Yes," I said, "which went to taxes and car repairs. I'm not sitting on a pile of gold bars, Clara." "Well," she said, her voice now icy, "I guess Lucia will just have to learn what it's like to have a selfish older brother." I stared at the phone, stunned. "Excuse me," I managed. "I just hope you're proud of yourself," she continued. "Letting your little sister fall behind at school because you'd rather upgrade your laptop." "I didn't upgrade," I snapped. "I bought a used one on Wallapop because my other one died." "Same difference," she shot back. I hung up. That was my first no. And it was terrifying. But also strangely right. The following week, the passive aggression went into overdrive. At a family dinner, Clara raised her glass and said, "To those who are always there, even in tough times." She didn't look at me. She didn't need to. Ramon chimed in with a curt, "Yeah, some people get it." I pushed my plate away. And then came the real offense. They booked the vacation I paid for, used the spa credits I'd added, ate the dinner I'd reserved with my account, and then live-streamed themselves mocking me to the internet. No gratitude. No decency. Just the haughty, giddy laughter of a woman who once cried on the phone and said, "I don't know what we'd do without you." Now I thought that night. I didn't just cancel their privileges. I wrote a letter while I designed it. A luxurious black envelope with gold calligraphy, sealed with wax. On the front, in cursive letters, "Something special. Just for you." Inside, a glossy card with gilded edges. No angry message. No insults. Just one printed phrase. "Scan for a personal surprise." Below it, a clean, elegant QR code. I called the receptionist, Javier, at the hotel and asked a favor. Place the envelope in the center of the Costa Blanca hotel check-in desk, just before the dinner rush. "It's a gift for the couple staying in the Nutshell Suite," I said sweetly. "They'll know it's from me." And they did. Clara, always the attention seeker, grabbed it like it was a prize. Opened it right there at the desk. Staff gathered, intrigued. Tourists paused, curious. She scanned the code with a theatrical flourish. The moment it loaded, the lobby fell completely silent. A full-screen video began to play at full volume. A short, slow-motion clip of me standing on a beach, holding a cocktail and a sign. "This is the face of the person who paid for your luxury while you mocked him online." Then, as the screen zoomed in on my face, unmistakable music blared. The Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song bounced off the marble walls. Clara shrieked. Literally shrieked. Ramon fumbled with the phone, trying to turn it off like it was burning his hand. Someone gasped and said, "Oh my God, it's them." A teenager whispered, "Dude, this is legendary." Another guest laughed and commented, "Wait, is that the Curb Your Enthusiasm music? What a savage move. This is going straight to TikTok." Then Javier, the receptionist, unsure what was happening, leaned forward and read the card aloud. "Something special. Just for you," he said, confused but impressed. Then he added, "Is this part of a performance?" By the time the music looped for the third time, half the lobby had their phones out. Guests murmured. Staff gaped. One woman was laughing so hard she had to lean against a column. Clara shoved the card back into the envelope and bolted. My father followed, muttering something about suing someone. But it was too late. The damage was done. That was the moment everything changed. They left for vacation as my ungrateful family. They returned different. The entire lobby held its breath. And when they returned, they didn't have that haughty look anymore. They looked deflated. They came back 2 days early. No posts. No live streams. No smiles. I was sitting in my kitchen when my phone vibrated. A text from Ramon. "We need to talk. Family dinner. 7 p.m. No hello. No apology. Just an order like always. 7 p.m. They hadn't even unpacked their bags and they were already summoning me like I was their servant. But you know what? I went. I didn't go to talk. I went to end it all. When I walked in, the table was set, as always, the dishes still steaming. Clara had a glass of wine in her hand but refused to look at me. Ramon was already half angry. I could feel it in the air. Get to the point, he barked before I even sat down. What the hell was that stunt at the hotel? I raised an eyebrow. You mean the truth? I paused. I just gave it a little presentation. Clara slammed her glass down. You humiliated us in front of the entire hotel, she yelled. People were whispering. Some guy asked if we were on parole. Do you realize what we went through? Do you realize what I've gone through? I replied, sharp and calm. Sitting alone in my apartment, eating canned ravioli, while you toasted with champagne on livestream, laughing at me. It was just a comment, she snapped. A bad joke. A joke. I stood up. 4 years I've been the one feeding you, paying your rent, your groceries, signing loan guarantees, funding your fresh starts and luxury vacations. And what do I get in return? Can you imagine if he were here? He'd ruin the mood. Good thing he didn't come with us. Ramon slammed his fist on the table. That doesn't justify what you did. You made us look like freeloaders in front of strangers. People thought we were moochers. I tilted my head. Because you are. Silence. The hum of the refrigerator. Utter silence. Clara slowly lowered her wine glass. You've damaged our reputation, she said coldly. And if you have an ounce of decency left in you, you will apologize. You will fix this. I laughed. From deep down, a deep free laugh. Apologize? For what? For showing people the truth? For forcing you to confront what you really are? You embarrassed us. Ramon exploded. After everything we've done for you. I turned to him, my eyes locking on his. Oh yes? And exactly what have you done for me? He blinked. We gave you a roof over your head. And charged me with guilt. We gave you a family. When you needed my money. You taught me that love in this house is nothing but a currency in disguise. Clara stood up abruptly. We gave you life. Isn't that enough? And monetized every second of it. I shot back. But the game is over. I reached into my bag and tossed a folder onto the table. They both flinched. What's this? Ramon growled. A termination agreement, I said. I'm not your sponsor anymore. Not your emergency fund. Not your plan B. This is ridiculous, he roared. You think you can just walk away from your family like this? I leaned forward, calm, cold. I don't think I can. I am. Clara was pale now. You can't just erase us. I looked her in the eye. You erased me years ago. And with that I turned, walked out the door, and left them sitting there in silence, surrounded by their comforting food, growing cold like their excuses. I didn't hear from them for 5 days. No texts. No calls. No guilt-tripping texts from Clara at 3 a.m. No fake emergencies from Ramon. It was the loudest silence I'd ever heard. And it was glorious. I woke up the morning after the confrontation feeling like someone had lifted a 200-pound chain off my chest. My apartment was the same. My job was just as stressful. But inside everything felt lighter. That night I bought sushi. Good sushi, not the plastic tray kind from the supermarket. Poured myself a glass of wine. Sat on my balcony. And for the first time in years, I breathed without checking my bank account in fear of another buy-some emergency. Without calculating how many more days I could stretch the gas because of some new family mishap. Just me. My money. My choices. And best of all, I didn't owe anyone anything. But peace doesn't last long when manipulators start losing control. Day 6, the phone rang. Ramon. I stared at it. Let it ring. Then another call. Clara. Then a text. I know we argued, but we're still family. We can talk. For your siblings. I ignored it. And then came another text. Short, passive-aggressive, classic Clara. I hope you're happy. Your brother had to cancel his basketball camp. Your sister's dance recital ruined. All because you needed to throw a tantrum. I didn't reply. So they escalated. Day 8. Clara posted a long rambling rant on Facebook. It's sad when people of your own blood turn their backs on family. Especially when children suffer. Some people just crave attention. She didn't tag me, of course not. But the screenshots found their way to me. Apparently, someone in the comments asked about the QR code scandal at the hotel, and she deleted it. But not before 20 people reacted with the laughing emoji. And then came the final straw. Day 10, there was a knock at my door. My younger brother, Nicholas, 14 years old. Hood up. Pale. Nervous. I just wanted to see you, he mumbled. Clara doesn't know I'm here. I blinked. Come in. We sat on the couch. He wouldn't look at me, just stared at the floor. I saw the video, he finally said. The QR code thing. I thought it was fake at first, but then I heard what they said about you. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I hadn't expected it. Hadn't asked for it. But hearing those words from someone who lived in that house meant more than anything they could ever say. She made us unfollow you, he added quietly. Said you were dangerous. That you'd turned against the family. But I think she was just scared we'd see the truth. He handed me something. A crumpled envelope. Inside, a birthday card I'd sent him 2 years ago. There was a €20 bill inside. I never spent it, he said. Just kept it. My eyes welled up. Thanks for still being you, he said, standing up. Before he left, he turned and said, by the way, she's losing it. Losing it? Really? And Dad's angry all the time. I think they're scared you're going to go public. I smiled. Oh, honey, I whispered. I already did. From there, everything unraveled for them. Ramon called my uncle Manuel, trying to get him to talk some sense into me. Spoiler, my uncle sent me this text. You were too patient for too long. I'm proud of you. Clara contacted one of my exes. Yes, seriously. Told her I'd always been unstable and maybe the breakup had pushed me over the edge. My ex sent me the screenshots with the note. Tell her to get a new script. I heard they tried to take out a small personal loan. And guess what? Denied. Why? Because I was the one with the good credit history, the one propping up the joint accounts they were listed on as authorized users. Not anymore. And the hotel? Apparently Javier, the receptionist, posted anonymously on a travel forum about the most dramatic guest moment I've ever witnessed. It went viral. No names, of course, but anyone who knew them knew exactly who it was about. And me? I flourished. Deleted the family group chat. Started therapy. Joined a gym. Took a weekend trip by myself. The first time I'd ever bought a plane ticket just for me. I wasn't rich. I didn't become a different person overnight. But every day, I felt like I was ripping out another root of them that had been embedded in my skin. Freedom didn't feel like fireworks. Felt like peace. Like waking up and realizing no one could take anything from me just because we shared a last name. Felt like finally belonging to myself. Some mornings I still wake up expecting a text from them. Something dramatic. Something guilt-laden. Some new fire to put out. But there's nothing. Just the hum of my coffee maker and the quiet joy of knowing my life is now my own. It's funny how before silence terrified me. When I equated attention with love. When every euro I gave them felt like paying for a seat at a table where I was never truly welcome. And now silence is a blessing. It's proof that I'm finally free. I think what surprises me the most is how long I let it all go on. 5 years. 10, maybe more. I spent decades trying to earn what should have been unconditional. Respect. Inclusion. Basic human decency. And every time I got a crumb, an empty thank you, a fleeting "we're proud of you," I clutched it like gold because deep down I believed I was the problem. I thought if I just gave a little more, tried a little harder, they would really love me. But that's the trick with toxic families. They don't want you healed. They want you useful. They want you quiet, exhausted, and guilty because those are the easiest people to control. The moment I stopped apologizing for their behavior and started questioning it, everything changed. A few weeks ago, I ran into someone at the supermarket. A woman I vaguely recognized from my parents' neighborhood. She looked at me, paused, and said, "You're Clara's stepson, right?" I froze for a second, then nodded. She lowered her voice, leaned in a little, and whispered, "We all saw that hotel video." I braced myself for the worst. But then she smiled. "It was brilliant. You had guts. They've always acted like royalty around here. I think you woke a few people up." I thanked her and walked away, head held high. Sometimes I wonder if they still sit at that table, concocting new narratives about why I changed. I bet Clara says I had a breakdown, that I was always too sensitive, that I misinterpreted things. Maybe Ramon says I'll come crawling back when my tantrum is over. But there's something they don't know. I'm not angry anymore. Anger was the fuel that helped me leave, but peace is what's keeping me away. I don't need revenge. I don't need validation. I don't need them to say you were right, because I already know I was. I have the receipts, the scars, the silence. And now I have something else too. Boundaries. The other day, I received a handwritten letter. No return address. Inside was a simple note. I saw what happened. Just wanted to say thank you for showing that sometimes, cutting ties is what truly saves a person. You helped me leave too. It wasn't signed, but it didn't need to be. Someone out there, someone like me, finally understood that I wasn't alone. And maybe that's enough. So here's what I know now. I'm not a villain for choosing myself. I'm not cruel for breaking the cycle. And I'm not a bad son or brother or person for stopping paying the price for people who never gave me respect. I was never the problem. They just hated that I finally realized it. And now I don't carry guilt. I don't carry fear. I carry one thing: freedom.